Hey everyone, this is just going to be a quick video of me shortening the ska on the Shinwa Odachi. Now before I get to that, just want to say real quick, this is going to be a new type of video. I'm actually going to try to put a bunch of clips together to show the process of this actually being done. So, we'll see how this works out. Now about the sword. The ska felt pretty good, but as I mentioned before, this ska is way too big for this tang. This tang on this sword is only 15 inches. A tang on a Japanese sword, at least best way to do it, in case you don't know, is the ska should really be only 2 inches longer than the tang. So that means should be right about there. But that's okay because I'm just going to shorten the ska down to make it that way. In my opinion, this is just too long for this size sword, in my opinion. For me, it felt very awkward because the ska is 5 of my hands long. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my hands long, which is way too big. So I'm going to shorten this down to 17. And I'm going to include a picture right here on the ratio of ska to tang on this sword. This is going to be a really awesome video, and I hope you enjoy. So now we're going to have to undo these end knots, and then we'll continue from there. Now mine I'm actually going to cut out because I actually used a really strong glue, but I'll do that, then we'll pick up from there. So, just as I predicted, I had to cut my end knot because I mean that glue really holds tight, which is awesome for a user sword. And now I have that part undone. Now I'm gonna have to undo this part here, this part of the wrapping, and redo the side knot down to the point where it needs to be. So I'll do that, and then we'll see where we are. So I have that part done, as you see. Ska maki is now down to here, and the side knot is retied, as you can see. Next thing we're going to have to do is to cut the race skin down so that it's the right size. It's not an overly difficult process. I'm just going to cut mine down to where I think I need, and then as I put the Kashira on, I'm just going to shorten it down even more if I need to. So I'll get that part done, and then we'll pick up from there. So a little pointer real quick with this is you may want to do, like what I did is I just cut a small notch. As you can see, it's not much, it's just a little reference for where the samegawa should be cut. Now the really easy thing about this is this one here doesn't have real race skin, so it was actually very easy to cut. It's just rubber, so now take that side off, and as you see, there we go. And now this side. There we go. Now the next part is going to be cutting the ska, and for this part you want to use a saw that can cut a really straight line. Okay? You don't want it to be crooked this way or this way. So I'm actually going to use an electric saw for this, and then we'll pick up from there. The ska is now cut. My dad actually helped me with this part because the saw that I needed to use had to make a really straight line, or straight cut rather, this way and this way. Now it might be a little bit off, but I can fix that with a file. Saved me a lot of work right there though. Now I need to shape the end so that it's more like that as opposed to that. And I also need to fix right there because as you can see, the Kashira doesn't fit at the moment. But after some filing, that'll be just fine. So let's get that part done, and then we'll be close to being done. So cut the shape right there. Applied a little bit of black paint just so it'll all blend in easier. One thing to keep in mind, I did this with a drill and some files. It only took a few minutes. If you're going to do this, be careful. As you see, may not be able to see it too well, but the ito frayed a little bit right there on the ends, but not a big deal at all. And the Kashira fits really nice, actually, as you can see. So we'll just do up these knots right here, and then it'll be done. So let's take care of those knots, and then I'll show you the finished product. So here it is now, after I finished shortening this guy down to 17 inches. It's not bad. I used it for a little bit in class today. I'm going to shorten it up a little bit more because 17 inches is still a bit big. I'm going to shorten it down to 16. That I know will feel good because I held it in what would be a 16-inch ska, which is what I've been holding it as in the videos. As you can see too, I mean, this came out pretty good in my opinion. And the ito is a little bit frayed, but that's not a big deal, especially since this is going to be made a little bit shorter. The fraying is from the filing, so this time I'm just going to be more careful. And next we'll see how it looks with the ska shortened to 16 inches. So stay tuned. Here's the ska now, shortened down to 16 inches. As you can see, the Kashira is facing the right way. It's got a nice fit right there. Let's see if I can get this nice and close. The end knots are done proper. That's the omote side, which is the side that faces out. And this is the ora side. And it has the gyakyu menuki, which is a feature I like, which means instead of them being on the finger side like that when you hold it, they go right in the palms. I prefer that over the menuki on the finger side. Fits the hands better, at least with a good sized menuki. Proper sized menuki, rather. Some of them are way too big to have gyakyu menuki. And if they're too small, it's not really a big deal. You could still do it. It just won't serve as much of a palm swell. Speaking of the menuki, as you can see, they are now facing the right way. I did this variation of a hineri maki so that they're more visible. Once again, up close. Much more visible than a typical hineri maki. And the point of balance is still really good, in my opinion, especially for a sword this size. Let's see here, a little bit this way, right there. So it's about 5 inches from the tsuba. I measured it before. It's a little bit less than 5 inches from the tsuba, which is to me still a good point of balance. So this ska, as I said, is 16 inches. It's actually a little bit more. It's 16 and a quarter. But, I'm rounding it to 16. It doesn't really matter. If I wanted to, I could shorten this a little bit more, but I'm not going to. I think that this is a perfect size ska for this sword. The tang is still the original length, because remember, it was a 15-inch tang and it had 22-inch ska. So I kept the tang the same size, so it has the same point of balance roughly. Might be a little bit more forward with the wood cut off, but that's not too big of a deal. Could still go a little bit shorter once again, but not going to. I think this is a good length, but if you wanted a little bit of a shorter ska, could go down to 15.5, and it still won't affect the balance too much. When you start cutting on the tang, that's when you really start affecting balance on a sword like this. So that's why I try never to start cutting on the tang. So I hope this was helpful and informative. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.